I stared at the roasted chicken growing cold on my pristine white serving platter, watching as tiny droplets of grease congealed around its golden skin. The dinner party was supposed to be perfect. Instead, it became the moment I realized my husband had been slowly killing who I was, one small cut at a time. Anna here thinks she's quite the chef now that she's left her career to focus on more domestic pursuits, Ryan announced to his boss, Lucas, with that trademark smile that used to make my heart flutter. Now it just made my stomach turn. I gripped my wine glass tighter, feeling the stem might snap under the pressure. The red wine trembled slightly, matching the tremor in my hands. Though I have to say, Ryan continued, winking at Lucas, maybe she should have stuck to spreadsheets. At least those didn't come out dry. Lucas's wife tittered nervously while Lucas himself shifted in his chair, clearly uncomfortable. The silence that followed felt like a noose around my neck. Actually, I said, my voice steadier than I felt, I followed your mother's recipe exactly, Ryan. The one you always praise at her house. The look Ryan shot me could have frozen hell. I used to shrink from that look, make myself smaller, apologize for speaking out of turn. Not tonight. Speaking of work, Lucas interjected, clearly trying to ease the tension. Ryan tells me you were in marketing before? At Preston and Mills? Senior marketing executive, I corrected, ignoring Ryan's warning cough. I led their digital transformation campaign. We increased market share by 32% that year. Ryan's knife scraped against his plate with unnecessary force. Ancient history now. Anna's much happier focusing on our home, aren't you, sweetheart? 3 years ago, when Ryan had first suggested I quit my job, he'd painted such a pretty picture. We'd have more time together. Start a family. Build our dream life. What he'd really wanted was to clip my wings, keep me dependent, manageable. Oh yes, I smiled, refilling Lucas's wine glass. It's given me so much time to think. To really understand what I want from life. Ryan relaxed slightly, mistaking my words for submission. Poor, predictable Ryan. He never did understand that sometimes the most dangerous predators are the ones that play dead first. The chicken is lovely, Anna, Lucas's wife offered kindly. And this wine pairing is excellent. Thank you, I replied, watching Ryan's jaw clench. He hated when others praised me, especially in front of his boss. I've been taking some sommelier classes online. Amazing what you can learn when you have the time. Ryan's fork clattered against his plate. Sommelier classes? First I'm hearing of this. Is it? I asked innocently. I must have mentioned it during one of your late nights at the office. With Evelyn. The color drained from Ryan's face. Lucas looked between us, suddenly very interested in his wine glass. I think it's time for dessert, Ryan announced, standing abruptly. Anna, help me in the kitchen? I rose gracefully, following him. As soon as we were out of earshot, he grabbed my arm, his fingers digging into my flesh. What the hell do you think you're doing? He hissed. I looked down at his hand, then back up at his face. Making conversation with your boss. Isn't that what you wanted? The perfect corporate wife? Don't play games with me, he warned, releasing my arm. You're embarrassing yourself. No, Ryan, I replied softly, reaching past him to grab the dessert plates. I'm just getting started. I returned to the dining room, bearing tiramisu and a smile that felt like warfare. Ryan followed, his confident mask back in place, but I could see the uncertainty in his eyes. Good. Let him wonder. Let him worry. Because tonight wasn't just about a ruined dinner party. It was about the moment I stopped being Ryan Mitchell's perfectly crafted trophy wife and started becoming something far more dangerous, a woman with nothing left to lose. The bank statement trembled in my hands as I sat at our kitchen island. 3 separate transfers to an account I didn't recognize, each for exactly $4,000. The dates matched Ryan's late nights at the office. Funny how patterns emerge when you start looking for them. I heard Mia's car pull into the driveway and quickly saved photos of the statement to my phone. My hands were steady now, precise. Like a surgeon preparing for an operation. You look like hell, Mia announced, dropping her designer bag on the counter. She studied my face. What happened after I left the dinner party? Ryan's spending money we don't have, I said, sliding the statement across the marble surface. And I'm pretty sure I know where it's going. Mia scanned the numbers, her perfectly manicured nail tracing the suspicious transfers. Evelyn? Who else? The amount started right after she joined TechWave. That snake, Mia muttered, then caught herself. Sorry, but are you absolutely sure? This is a serious accusation, Anna. I pulled up the company directory on my phone. Notice anything about that account number? It matches the employee ID format TechWave uses. I remember it from when Ryan first started there. Jesus, Mia whispered. What are you going to do? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. Claire's name flashed across the screen. Anna, darling, my mother-in-law's voice dripped with artificial sweetness. I just had the most interesting lunch with Margaret from Ryan's office. She mentioned seeing him and that lovely Evelyn having quite an intimate dinner at Lou Blanc last week. I thought you should know. My grip tightened on the phone. How thoughtful of you, Claire. Was this during the charity gala I couldn't attend because Ryan said we couldn't afford the tickets? The silence on the other end was delicious. Oh dear, Claire finally managed. Perhaps I shouldn't have. No, you absolutely should have. Thank you, Claire. Really? I ended the call and looked at Mia, who was watching me with concern. You're scary calm right now, she observed. Because I finally understand the game, I replied, opening my laptop. And I'm done playing by his rules. I pulled up my old marketing contacts, fingers flying across the keyboard. 3 years ago, I'd led digital campaigns worth millions. Now I was about to launch the most important campaign of my life. What exactly are you planning? Mia asked, leaning over my shoulder. First, I need income he can't control. Remember Jessica from Preston and Mills? She owns that boutique downtown now. I'm meeting her tomorrow about a part-time position. Anna. Mia's voice held a warning. Then I start documenting everything. The transfers, the receipts, the late nights. Building a case. For divorce? I smiled, but there was no warmth in it. For something much more satisfying. My phone buzzed again, a text from Ryan, working late. Don't wait up. I typed back, no problem. Having dinner with your mother anyway. She sends her love. Let him sweat over that one. You know he'll try to destroy you if he catches on, Mia said softly. I closed the laptop and met her worried gaze. He already did that, Mia. 3 years ago, when I let him convince me to give up everything I was to become his perfect little wife. The difference is, back then I helped him do it. And now? Now I'm going to show him exactly what happens when you underestimate the woman you tried to break. I stood up, suddenly energized. Want to help me go through his office? Mia hesitated for only a second before grabbing her bag. I'll take the desk, you take the filing cabinet? As we climbed the stairs to Ryan's home office, I felt something I hadn't experienced in years, purpose. Every step was taking me closer to reclaiming not just my dignity, but my power. The lock on his office door was child's play. I'd watched him punch in the code countless times while he thought I was focused on being the perfect hostess. Just like I'd watched him slowly dismantle my confidence, my ambitions, my sense of self. Well, Ryan was about to learn that some things, once broken, don't put themselves back together the same way. Sometimes they come back sharper. Deadlier. And I was just getting started. The boutique's bell chimed as another customer left, clutching a designer bag I'd convinced her she couldn't live without. 2 weeks into my part-time hobby, as I'd explained it to Ryan, and I'd already doubled the store's sales. Jessica couldn't stop beaming. Just like old times, she said, counting the day's receipts. You haven't lost your touch. I was about to respond when I heard familiar voices outside. Through the storefront window, I spotted Ryan and Lucas heading toward the coffee shop next door. I ducked behind a display rack, motioning Jessica to silence. "The board's getting suspicious, Ryan." Lucas's voice carried through the thin walls. "These numbers don't add up, and Evelyn's department shouldn't be showing that kind of profit margin." "Trust me, Lucas. Everything's under control." "Like those missing development funds were under control?" "Christ, Ryan, if this gets out." "It won't." Ryan's voice hardened. "Unless someone's been talking?" The conversation faded as they entered the coffee shop, but my hands were already shaking. Not from fear, from possibility. "Anna?" Jessica touched my arm. "You okay?" "Better than okay," I said, straightening up. "Listen, I need to make a call." "Cover for me?" In the back office, I dialed Claire's number. She answered on the first ring, as expected. "Anna. I was just thinking about you. The country club is having their annual charity gala next month, and actually, I cut in, I was hoping you could help me with something. Ryan's been so stressed lately, and I want to surprise him with a romantic evening. Could you get his schedule from his assistant? She always loved you." "Oh." Claire practically purred at being included in the conspiracy. "Of course, darling. Anything to help you two reconnect." If she only knew. An hour later, my phone buzzed with screenshots of Ryan's calendar, including his private meetings with Evelyn. But more importantly, his login credentials for the company system, saved by his ever-helpful assistant. I was reviewing the information when the boutique's bell chimed again. I froze at the sound of Evelyn's voice. "This is such a cute shop," she was saying to someone. "I need something for a business dinner tonight. The executive team's wives will all be there." I emerged from the back office, clipboard in hand, professional smile fixed in place. "Welcome to Vintage Vogue. Can I help you find something?" Evelyn turned, recognition flickering across her face before she masked it with polite surprise. "Anna? I didn't know you worked here." "Just keeping busy," I replied, noting how she shifted her designer purse, the same model I'd seen charged to our joint account last month. "Business dinner, you said? How interesting." Ryan didn't mention anything about it. Color touched her cheeks. "Oh, it was very last minute. Actually, maybe I should try somewhere else." "Nonsense," I said, selecting a red dress from the rack. "This would be perfect. The color really makes a statement." The same color as the lipstick stains I'd found on Ryan's collar last week. She took the dress, hesitating. "It's beautiful, but..." "Trust me," I smiled, all teeth. "I know exactly what works for these events." The wives can be so judgmental, can't they? Our eyes met in the mirror as she held the dress against herself. For a moment, I saw fear flicker across her face. Good. She should be afraid. After she left, without the dress, I pulled out my phone and opened my email. The login credentials Claire had sent were burning a hole in my pocket. One quick look at the company's financial records would confirm what I'd overheard. But my finger hovered over the keyboard. This wasn't just about catching Ryan anymore. This was about dismantling everything he'd built on lies. And I needed to be smart about it. I dialed Mia instead. "Remember that corporate law friend of yours?" I asked when she answered. "The one who specializes in whistleblower cases?" "I think it's time we had coffee." The pieces were falling into place, faster than I'd anticipated. Ryan thought he was playing chess, carefully positioning his pieces, protecting his king. But he'd forgotten something crucial. In chess, the queen is the most powerful piece on the board. And I was done being a pawn. The USB drive felt heavy in my palm as I sat across from Sarah Chen, Mia's corporate lawyer friend, in her downtown office. Through the wall-to-wall windows, I could see TechWave's building looming in the distance, a glass monument to my husband's lies. "These financial records," Sarah said, scrolling through her laptop, "they're definitely irregular. But proving Ryan's involvement will be tricky." He's covered his tracks well. I pulled out my phone, played the recording from the coffee shop. Lucas's voice filled the room. These numbers don't add up, and Evelyn's department shouldn't be showing that kind of profit margin. Sarah's eyebrows shot up. That's better. But we still need. My phone buzzed. Claire's name flashed on the screen. Anna, darling, she burst out before I could speak. The most wonderful news. Ryan's planning to announce his promotion at the charity gala next month. Lucas told me himself. My blood ran cold. Promotion? To Chief Financial Officer. Can you believe it? Though I suppose with poor Marcus's heart attack. The rest of her words faded into white noise. Marcus Thompson. TechWave's current CFO. The only person who could have spotted the financial irregularities. Claire, I interrupted, when did Marcus have his heart attack? Just yesterday. Such terrible timing, right before the audit he was planning. Ryan says he'll handle everything now, of course. I ended the call, my hands shaking. We need to move faster, I told Sarah. Ryan's about to destroy evidence. Sarah leaned forward. Anna, slow down. If we rush this. He gave his CFO a heart attack. You can't prove that. Yet. I stood up, gathering my things. But I know someone who can help. An hour later, I was back at the boutique, watching Evelyn try on dresses for the charity gala. She'd been coming in regularly, perhaps hoping to run into me, perhaps seeking absolution. The blue one, I suggested, noting how she startled at my voice. It matches your eyes. Though I hope you didn't charge it to the same account as the last 3 dresses. She froze, half-zipped. I don't know what you mean. $4,000. 3 times. To your employee account. I stepped closer, adjusting her zipper with deliberate care. The same account that received a substantial bonus right before Marcus Thompson's unfortunate accident. Her face went ash-white. How did you? I was a marketing executive, Evelyn. Numbers tell stories. And yours is particularly interesting. I smoothed the fabric across her shoulders, our eyes meeting in the mirror. Especially the part where Ryan convinced you to help him hide the missing development funds. He said it was temporary, she whispered. Just until the audit. And now there won't be an audit. Convenient, isn't it? She turned to face me, tears threatening. I never meant. I didn't know about Marcus. But you suspected. I handed her a tissue. Help me stop him, Evelyn. Before someone else gets hurt. He'll destroy me. No, I said softly. He'll try. But I won't let him. Neither will Sarah Chen from Morrison and Associates. I placed her card on the dressing room bench. Your choice. That evening, I prepared dinner as usual, listening to Ryan boast about his upcoming promotion. Each word was a knife in my gut, knowing what he'd done to achieve it. We should celebrate, I suggested, pouring his wine. Maybe invite Lucas and his wife over? Actually, Ryan paused, studying my face. I was thinking just the 2 of us. We've been distant lately. Maybe it's time to focus on us again. I met his gaze, saw the calculation behind his charm. He was worried, trying to secure his home base before making his final move at work. That sounds perfect, I lied, raising my glass. To new beginnings. He smiled, relief evident in his shoulders. Poor Ryan. He still thought he was the one in control. My phone vibrated silently in my pocket, a text from Sarah, Evelyn's in. Meeting tomorrow, 9 a.m. I took another sip of wine, hiding my smile. The pieces were falling into place, and Ryan had no idea he was about to lose everything he'd built on other people's destruction. Starting with me. The anonymous email to TechWave's board took 3 minutes to write and 1 second to send. I sat in Sarah's office, watching the delivery confirmation appear on my screen, feeling nothing but a hollow certainty. Last chance to back out, Sarah said, but we both knew I wouldn't. My phone lit up. Ryan's face flashed on the screen. I let it ring. He'll know something's wrong, Sarah warned. He already does. I showed her the text from Evelyn that had arrived an hour ago. Ryan's asking questions about the financial records. He knows someone accessed them. The phone rang again. This time, Lucas's name appeared. I answered, putting it on speaker. Hello? Anna. Lucas's voice was tight. Is Ryan with you? He's not answering his phone, and we've got a situation here. What kind of situation? The board received some concerning information about the development funds and Marcus's audit. A pause. Anna, did you know anything about this? I caught Sarah's warning look. About what, exactly? Never mind. Just, if you see him, tell him to call me immediately. The line went dead. Within seconds, my phone exploded with notifications. Claire was calling. Mia was texting. Even Jessica from the boutique. Ryan was just here looking for you. He seemed angry. We should get you somewhere safe, Sarah started, but I was already standing. No. I need to be home when he arrives. It has to play out right. Anna. I've got the security system recording everything. The police on speed dial. And 3 years of rage keeping me steady. I drove home through streets that felt simultaneously familiar and foreign. The house looked exactly as I'd left it this morning, but everything had changed. Ryan's car wasn't in the driveway, but the front door was unlocked. I stepped inside, hearing movement upstairs in his office. Ryan? The shuffling stopped. Then footsteps, heavy and quick, descended the stairs. Where are the files? His face was flushed. I ask you. The ones you took from my office. I didn't take anything from your office. Technically true. I'd copied files, not taken them. Don't lie to me. He moved closer, that familiar mix of charm and menace radiating off him. You've been busy, haven't you? Working at the boutique, meeting with lawyers. Did you think I wouldn't find out? Like I found out about Evelyn? Or Marcus? He laughed, but it was brittle. You don't know what you're talking about. $4,000, 3 times. To keep her quiet about the missing development funds. Then Marcus starts asking questions, planning an audit, and suddenly has a heart attack. I met his gaze steadily. Convenient timing. You're being dramatic. But his eyes darted to the stairs, to his office. I would never. Hurt anyone? I touched my arm where he'd grabbed me that dinner party night, watching him flinch at the gesture. We both know that's not true. His phone buzzed. He glanced at it, face darkening. The board's calling an emergency meeting. Whatever you think you're doing, Anna, stop it now. You have no idea what you're risking. Actually, I do. I'm risking everything you built on lies. Your career. Your reputation. I smiled, feeling powerful for the first time in years. Your perfect little wife. He moved so fast I barely saw it, his hand reaching for my throat. But I was faster, stepping back, my own phone already recording. Try it, I whispered. Give me one more reason to destroy you. His hand dropped. For a moment, I saw real fear in his eyes. Then his phone buzzed again, and he backed away, straightening his tie. This isn't over. No, I agreed. But it will be soon. He left, the door slamming behind him. I waited until his car started before sinking to the floor, hands shaking as I texted Sarah, "It's done." He took the bait. The board meeting tomorrow would reveal everything, the fraud, the harassment, possibly even worse. And Ryan, thinking he could control the narrative, would walk right into it. I touched my throat where his hand had almost reached. The security camera in the corner had caught everything. One more piece of evidence in a case built on years of careful observation. Ryan was right about one thing, it wasn't over. But the ending? That had been written the moment he'd first tried to break me. TechWave's annual charity gala sparkled with false promises and champagne bubbles. I adjusted my black dress, bought with my own money from the boutique, and watched Ryan work the room. He looked confident, but I caught the slight tremor in his hand as he lifted his glass. Quite the turnout. Lucas appeared beside me, his own smile strained. Though I notice Marcus's wife isn't here. How is he? I asked, noting Ryan's attention shifting our way. Still in intensive care. The doctors found traces of something unexpected in his system. I let that hang in the air between us. Lucas cleared his throat. The board's beginning their investigation tomorrow. Ryan claims he can explain everything. I'm sure he does. I smiled as Claire approached, practically vibrating with excitement. There you are. Ryan's about to make his announcement. Isn't it wonderful? My phone buzzed. A text from Evelyn. He knows. He threatened to implicate me in everything. I'm sorry, Anna. The room suddenly felt too small. Ryan was ascending the small stage, that practiced charm radiating from every pore. I caught Sarah's eye across the room. She wasn't supposed to be here, but we'd planned for contingencies. Distinguished colleagues, Ryan began, family, friends. Before I make tonight's announcement, I want to address some rumors that have been circulating. This wasn't part of the plan. I moved toward the exit, but Claire grabbed my arm. Your husband's speaking, dear. Don't be rude. Recent allegations have been made about financial irregularities at TechWave, Ryan continued. I want to assure everyone that these claims have been thoroughly investigated. He paused, finding me in the crowd. His smile turned predatory. In fact, we've discovered the source of these malicious accusations. Someone who accessed company files illegally, who conspired with others to damage TechWave's reputation. The room went silent. I felt dozens of eyes turn toward me. My wife, Anna Mitchell, aided by our former employee Evelyn Parker, has been attempting to manipulate company data to frame innocent parties. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Claire's hand dropped from my arm as if burned. Security footage shows Anna accessing restricted areas. Bank records show suspicious transfers to accounts linked to her new workplace. And sadly, he held up his phone, I have proof of her conspiracy right here. My own words from texts to Evelyn appeared on the screen behind him, carefully edited to remove context. I looked for Sarah, but she had vanished. The board has already been notified, Ryan continued. Criminal charges are being considered. Lucas wouldn't meet my eyes. Claire was already moving away, aligning herself with the winning side. I should have run. Should have denied everything. Instead, I laughed. The sound cut through the murmurs, sharp as broken glass. Ryan faltered. Show them the rest, I said, my voice carrying in the silence. Show them what you did to Marcus when he discovered the truth. Security, Ryan called, but I was already moving forward. Show them the real transfers, Ryan. The ones to Evelyn's account. Show them the footage from our house last night, when you tried to strangle me. She's clearly unstable, Ryan said, but uncertainty had crept into his voice. Actually, a new voice cut in, I'd like to see that footage. Sarah emerged from the crowd, followed by 2 police officers, and, my heart jumped, Marcus Thompson himself, pale but very much alive in a wheelchair. Impossible, Ryan whispered. You were. In protective custody, Marcus finished. After my doctor found traces of poison in my system. The same poison traced to a purchase on your corporate card. The room erupted in chaos. I watched Ryan's face as his carefully constructed world began to crumble, as security moved toward him rather than me, as his phone buzzed with what I knew would be messages from the board. He looked at me one last time, and I saw the moment he realized, I hadn't just outplayed him, I'd learned from him. Every manipulation, every careful plan, every subtle destruction of someone's life. He'd taught me well. But I'd become a better student than he'd ever imagined. The handcuffs clicked around his wrists, and I felt nothing but hollow victory. The revenge I'd dreamed of tasted like ashes, but at least they were his ashes, not mine. Not anymore. The police station's interview room smelled of stale coffee and desperation. Ryan sat across from me, still in his gala tuxedo, though his bow tie hung loose around his neck. Between us lay the separation papers Sarah had prepared. You really think you've won? His voice was quiet, dangerous. Like the moment before a storm breaks. Sign the papers, Ryan. He leaned forward, those familiar dark eyes searching my face. 3 years of marriage, and I never saw it coming. The dutiful wife, planning my destruction all along. Not all along, I corrected, pushing the papers closer. Just since you started destroying me. A knock interrupted us. Lucas entered, followed by Evelyn. Ryan's face contorted. You brought them into this? They brought themselves. I nodded to Evelyn, who placed a USB drive on the table. Show him. The laptop screen flickered to life. Security footage from Marcus's office played silently, Ryan slipping something into a coffee cup, Marcus collapsing hours later. I kept everything, Evelyn said softly. Every conversation, every transfer, every threat. Insurance, I told myself. But really, I was just a coward. Ryan's laugh was hollow. And now you're what? Growing a conscience? Now I'm choosing a different path, she replied, moving toward the door. Like Anna did. Lucas cleared his throat. The board's decision is final, Ryan. TechWave will be pressing charges. You can't. We already have. Lucas placed another document beside the separation papers. Your resignation, effective immediately. Ryan's hands curled into fists. I recognized the tension in his shoulders, the prelude to violence I'd learned to fear. Everything I did, he hissed, I did for us. For our future. No. I stood, feeling stronger with each word. You did it for yourself. The money, the power, the control, it was always about you. I was just another acquisition. Something to own, to shape, to break. I made you who you are. You tried to unmake me, I corrected. But here's the thing about breaking something, Ryan. Sometimes the pieces come back together sharper. He moved suddenly, lunging across the table. But this time I didn't flinch. The officers watching through the one-way glass burst in, restraining him as Lucas and Evelyn backed away. You think this is over? Ryan shouted as they pulled him back. You think you can just walk away? I picked up the separation papers, now scattered across the floor. One page had torn right through the signature line where his name should be. Actually, I said, I already have. Your signature is just a formality. Like I was to you. I gathered my things, leaving the torn papers on the table. He could sign them or not, it didn't matter anymore. His world was crumbling either way. At the door, I paused. You know what the difference is between your revenge and mine, Ryan? Yours was about power. Mine was about freedom. Anna, his voice cracked, suddenly vulnerable. The mask finally slipping. Please. We can start over. For a moment, I saw him as he'd been when we first met, charming, ambitious, seemingly perfect. But now I saw through the charm to the hollow core beneath. Goodbye, Ryan. Outside, Mia waited in her car. She didn't ask questions, just drove as I watched the police station shrink in the rearview mirror. You okay? She finally asked. I touched my throat where Ryan had tried to grab me at the gala, feeling only smooth skin. No bruises. No fear. No chains. I will be. My phone buzzed, a message from Sarah, separation papers filed. Criminal charges pending. You're free. Free. Such a simple word for such a complex feeling. I'd gotten my revenge, but somehow it felt less like victory and more like liberation. Like waking up from a long, dark dream into a morning full of possibilities. Take me to the boutique, I told Mia. I have a shift in an hour. She smiled, understanding. This wasn't an ending, it was a beginning. My beginning. Finally, gloriously mine. The last box from my old life sat on Jessica's desk at the boutique, filled with marketing proposals and campaign ideas. She studied them with growing excitement while I arranged a window display. These are brilliant, Anna. The digital integration, the brand positioning. She looked up. I'm not letting you stay part-time anymore. I need you running marketing for all 3 locations. Through the window, I watched Claire approach the store, hesitating at the entrance. Our first interaction since the gala. Since everything fell apart. Take your time, Jessica said, gathering the proposals. I'll be in the back. The bell chimed as Claire entered, clutching her designer purse like a shield. I brought this, she said, holding out a small envelope. It was in Ryan's study. I thought you should have it. Inside was a photograph from our wedding day. I was laughing at something, unaware of the camera. Ryan was watching me with what I'd once mistaken for love. He's accepting the plea deal, Claire continued. The board agreed not to press additional charges if he cooperates with the investigation. Is that why you're here? To plead his case one last time? She straightened, and for a moment I saw where Ryan got his pride. No. I'm here because I failed you. I saw what was happening and I chose to look away. It was easier to believe in the perfect life Ryan presented than to acknowledge the truth. It usually is. You could have destroyed him completely, she said quietly. The evidence you had, what he did to Marcus, you could have ensured he never recovered. I turned back to the window display, adjusting a silk scarf. That's what Ryan would have done. But I didn't want to become him. I just wanted to be free. And are you? Free? My reflection in the window caught my eye, shoulders straight, head high, no tension in my jaw. No fear. Getting there. Claire moved toward the door, then paused. The house, he signed it over to you. Part of the settlement. Sell it, I said. Give the money to Marcus's medical fund. I don't want anything from that life anymore. After she left, I found one last item at the bottom of the box, a handwritten note from Ryan from our first anniversary. To my perfect wife, it began. Thank you for becoming everything I needed you to be. I'd treasured those words once. Now they read like a confession. The bell chimed again. Mia entered, followed by Evelyn. An unlikely alliance forged in the wreckage of Ryan's manipulation. Ready for lunch? Mia asked. That new marketing firm is eager to meet you. Just need to finish this display. Evelyn touched a cashmere sweater, her fingers trembling slightly. The investigators called again. They need more testimony about the financial transfers. You don't have to do it alone, I told her. Sarah will be there. So will I. She nodded, something like hope flickering across her face. I placed the last item in the window, a delicate silver chain with a key pendant. Not quite broken, but transformed into something new. Something stronger. Perfect, Jessica called from across the store. Though I'd shifted slightly left. I smiled, leaving it exactly where it was. Some things didn't need to be perfect anymore. They just needed to be true. The wedding photo still lay on the counter. I picked it up one last time, studying the woman I'd been, so eager to please, to transform herself into someone else's ideal. Coming? Mia called from the door. I left the photo on Jessica's desk, next to my new business cards, Anna Mitchell, Marketing Director. The bell chimed as we stepped into the sunlight. Ahead lay lunch meetings and court dates, therapy sessions, and fresh starts. The path wasn't clear or certain, but it was mine. And this time I wouldn't let anyone else define who I was meant to be.